Folks, there is something happening in Tanzania. Indeed, there is a lot happening in Tanzania, which of course must also concern each and every African, and especially Kenyans. In a minute I'll explain why. Ever since the passing on of former President John Pombe Magufuli, all attention, indeed attention of the world press, has been focused very closely on Tanzania. But if you're relying on the foreign media to give you the real state of affairs in this country, then you're in trouble. Because there are many issues, starting with the issue of language. And I should know, I have been a journalist for years, and I can tell you, when you're a foreign journalist based in a country where you do not understand the local language, then it is even more difficult. Because a lot is lost in translation, even if you can get somebody to translate stuff for you. Then you need to have a deep understanding of that language and its culture and its past and its history. In case you didn't know, Tanzania is a very different country. It's a unique country in Africa. Founding President of Tanzania, a great African, a legend, President Julius Nyerere, fought Western influence right from the birth of that nation, which was the very opposite direction of what his colleagues in other African countries, including Kenya and Uganda, were doing. And in case you didn't know, the late President Julius Nyerere survived numerous assassination attempts. He survived numerous attempts to overthrow the Tanzanian government. And you can easily guess who was behind those attempts. His enemies, numerous in the Western world. Indeed, Nyerere was a thinker. He was the intellectual who translated the William Shakespeare play, Julius Caesar, into Kiswahili, without losing anything. Amazing feat. All this background is especially relevant now, because of the simple fact that that country's intelligence service was established, upon the foundation of fighting Western influence and handling the challenges that go with it. And trust me, those challenges are humongous. More so for a cash-strapped African country like Tanzania. Notice I said cash-strapped, not poor, because Tanzania is very rich in natural resources. But of course they have been frustrated in their efforts to try and gain from what they have, what is theirs. There have been various obstacles and challenges, but that is a video for another day. Now I can already hear somebody asking, and all this is important just now. Why? I will tell you. The Tanzanian intelligence service has been very influential, because of the reasons I've just given you. Much more influential than that of any other African country. I know. Presidents have come and gone in Tanzania, but the intelligence service has remained, and the influential characters there have remained influential and more powerful than ever. Now, here is another super fascinating nugget of information. The president before Magufuli, President Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete, was a former member of that country's intelligence community. To be more specific, he was in military intelligence. Despite this fact, and wait for this one, He was the last straw, as far as powerful intelligence forces in Tanzania were concerned. It was believed he was taking the country in the wrong direction, very far away from the founding principles of President Nyerere. There was too much corruption in the country, and especially corruption amongst higher ranks of government. And so, according to my impeccable sources, the intelligence community went out to look for a candidate. And they found that perfect presidential candidate in a man called John Pombe Magufuli, who already had a track record of hating corruption with a vengeance. Magufuli had frustrated, while just a cabinet minister, he had frustrated, blocked so many corruption deals that he made many enemies. And indeed, at one time, an attempt was made on his life. He was poisoned. And it was so serious that he was lucky to have survived. If you refer back to my video on how Magufuli, who was just one of over 20 candidates seeking the CCM ticket for the presidency in 2015, and how he was not even mentioned amongst the front runners, but how he ended up in fact being the bearer of that ticket, is a fascinating story. And it has intelligence service interference written all over it. So, back to President Suluhu Hassan. Initially, all analysts in the intelligence community were firmly convinced that President Hassan Suluhu would take Tanzania in the very opposite direction John Pombe Magufuli had taken it. They firmly believed that she would change the country's policy on the pandemic, which has annoyed very many Western countries. In their own words, they believed that the new female president would bring sanity back to the country called Tanzania. Every single analyst in the intelligence community completely ignored Tanzania's Usalama wa Taifa, the country's intelligence service, and for a very good reason. It is also true that during President John Pombe Magufuli's tenure as president, he made very determined efforts to tame the power of the intelligence community in Tanzania. Indeed, one of the first things he did when he was elected president was to remove the person who was heading that intelligence service. Indeed, had headed that intelligence service for a very long time. This move confused many people who knew the power and the influence of Usalama wa Taifa and the fact that they are the ones who are responsible for making Magufuli president. And in clearing this confusion, comes our most valuable clue, which is the following. It clearly tells us that even as the entire intelligence community was busy making Magufuli president, Magufuli managed to earmark, set aside one senior member as his main advisor and confidant. And even as the head of the intelligence changed, that confidant remained in place. And that person, whoever they are, is still firmly in place. I have reason to believe that that person is indeed in charge and the de facto head of the intelligence. The man who made all the decisions when Magufuli fell ill. And indeed, after he passed on, and the country took a couple of days before making it public. In my opinion, this single move by the late Magufuli proves that the man was very smart, contrary to what some people, especially in the Western world, may think. Admittedly, he was also a dreamer. And I don't mean that in a bad way. You see, to get anything done, you need to dream the impossible. Because people always discourage you. They'll tell you this is impossible. It can't work. So many people have failed. Why do you expect to succeed? Etc., etc. And you have to be stubborn enough, strong enough to insist on your dream and to hang on to it despite the odds. And if you do a good enough job, but then you don't complete the mission, you don't reach that dream, it is very possible that after you're gone, others will pick up where you left. Because Magufuli was up against the most powerful forces on the face of the earth. But this gallant African, chose to fight, to resist, to try the seemingly impossible. But sadly, he did not live to see his dream fulfilled, his dream for the nation called Tanzania. Madam President Suluhu's recent moves, of announcing that the government will form a committee of experts to look into pertinent issues concerning the pandemic, has taken many by surprise. And it suggests that the new president wants to continue where Magufuli left off. That's really what it suggests. But there's something else that she has ordered, which would seem to go contrary to what Magufuli was doing. She seems determined to restore some semblance of freedom of the press in Tanzania. It is no secret. Magufuli suppressed, indeed shut down the Tanzanian press. It's not a secret. But in my view, it is a very smart move. And for the following simple reason. Majority of the press in Tanzania have now finally opened their eyes to see what President Magufuli was trying to do. Indeed, they are very close to being on the same page as the country's intelligence service. And it is a question of timing. Now is the best time to ease the suppression that the press in Tanzania have suffered. And in doing so, the government and the intelligence service in Tanzania will be able to get the press as a valuable ally going forward. Now, those who are alert will have noticed that we have touched on very many highly sensitive issues on this video. Today's show is a kind of show where you really need to read between the lines to understand precisely what I'm saying. However, in my latest weekly intelligence briefings number 54, I say it as it is. And as I mentioned earlier, these developments in Tanzania are extremely significant to the rest of Africa, and especially to Kenya. Find out exactly why in my latest WIB number 54. For those who are already subscribers, don't miss this WIB for anything, okay? It is extremely important. If you're not yet a subscriber, please don't feel left out. There are details on your screens right now. And especially for our precious brothers in Tanzania, it is very easy. you can use Vodacom, to be able to purchase subscription to my WIB. Details on your screens right now and repeated in the description area below this video on YouTube. I highly recommend it. As President Suluhu settles into the presidency in the coming days, her policies will become clearer. But then we already have a heads up of the direction where she's going. It is crystal clear she was a keen student of the late President Magufuli. She will not be the bulldozer that Magufuli was. However, she will carry out the same policies or policies which are very similar, taking a more diplomatic approach. She is emerging as a very firm leader while being diplomatic. I will be delighted if she emerges as a great daughter of the continent of Africa. Just like her predecessor, who is now a legend and great son, perhaps one of the greatest sons of the continent of Africa. I appreciate the fact that many may still not be able to see why Magufuli was such a great man. But I am certain with time, more eyes will be opened. Now, if you've enjoyed this video, please remember to give me a like. And if you've not yet subscribed, please subscribe. Because I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on developments in Tanzania. And my contacts and informants in Tanzania, I have to tell you, have been built up over a very long time. Over 20 years. Oh yes, since before I started the Kumbukicha brand. It is a country I understand very well. And indeed, many of my friends usually say I am more Tanzanian than most Tanzanians they know. Mungu ubariki Tanzania. Until next time, this is Kshs Kumekucha.